Okay, before we begin, I've got £10 riding on this. Is it Gilks or Gilks?
Gilks.
Brilliant. I'm now £10 richer.
Hope you've won your bet.
Okay, so we're here with Matt Gilks. This is Goalkeeper Magazine. And first things first, where did it all begin?
Probably when I was about 6 or 7. I joined my local junior team in Oldham, which was Hayside Juniors. Myself and my older brother. And I progressed from there to Rochdale when I was about 14. But that grounding there of Sunday League football, winning trophies at a young age, where you're playing football with your friends, when it was a love and a joy to play on them cold, rainy days, and with your mates basically. That was a good grounding for me. Although actually it was probably in the last year I was there, I actually played in goal. Yeah, I was probably 13 when I was allowed. I was quite a good outfield player. I played every position, and eventually worked my way back, if you will, and ended up in the goal. It's just something I always wanted to do.
Right, okay. How did you get into it professionally?
From Hayside Juniors, I was scouted to go to trial for Rochdale, and I was taken on at Rochdale at a young age of 14, and then I did the schoolboys to under 16s level, and then was lucky enough to get a scholarship, a 3-year apprenticeship at Rochdale.
And then
I was very fortunate again to get a professional contract, having played when I was 17 as a scholar in the first team, and then obviously progressed on to playing for the first team.
Yeah. How did you find that?
It was tough back then. I was a typical teenager, if you will. Thought I knew it all, been there, done it, and I was a million miles away, if truth be known. And I was taken on by Fred Barber, who was at Bolton. We used to go there, myself and Neil Edwards, who was the first team goalkeeper at Rochdale. And we used to train with Fred Barber at Bolton twice a week, and Fred sorted me out, should we say, with his work ethic and what it actually meant to become a goalkeeper. It's not easy. And that really made my eyes open to what it was all about.
What's he like, Fred? I've heard stories about him. He's a bit of a character.
He's a character, yeah. I think all goalkeepers are. It's well known that. But Fred's the best coach that I can say I've been involved with and lucky enough to have worked with, especially with some of the goalkeepers that were at Bolton. Obviously Oscar Lyon and Steve Banks and people like that. But Fred was the person that really taught me what it was all about, goalkeeping.
Yeah, I remember Ali Al-Habsi had nothing but good to say about him. It was him and John Burridge who basically got him on the road to where he is now. So, who was your hero when you were growing up?
Being an Oldham fan, there were 2 keepers there. One was Andy Rhodes, and then John Holworth. Me and my brother and my dad used to go to the game on a Saturday. We all lived about a mile from the ground, so we used to walk there and watch we used to have season tickets and to be in the Premier League days at Oldham, and then it just coincided with season ticket prices rising, them coming out of the Premier League, and we couldn't really afford it, and it coincided with myself starting to play Saturday football as well for Rochdale, and that's so. But that was my team, so I'd say they were my 2 heroes at the time.
Nice. And what keepers are you kind of looking up to now? Contemporaries? I
think you've got to look at the top goalkeepers in the league. Obviously Van der Sar's just retired, I know, but I would include him in it, and Rayner, Joe Hart, Peter Cech. I mean, they're the top 4 in the country, and they're the top 4 for a reason, because they're the best. And I know Joe's younger than me, but he still aspires to do and achieve what he has, although maybe a little bit late in my career for that. But still, I work hard, and you never know who's watching maybe one day and what it leads to. Yeah,
of course. Any opinions on De Gea? He's the kind of goalkeeping.
I mean, I look back when I was 20 years old, playing at Rochdale, and I found it tough. But possibly a better grounding really than going into Manchester United, although he has been playing in Spain, and he's done very well, but it's a completely different style of football. And obviously he's quite a tall guy, but he's very thin. Maybe he'll have to fill out slightly, but keep his agility. But it's very early days, and like I said, 20 years old, it's a big ask for him to fill, especially Van der Sar's boots.
Of course. Ferguson's obviously got a plan for him, but it's...
Oh, of course, I mean, Ferguson's been doing that for years with players. You know, he brings them in young, you know, and puts them in there. That's how they learn, really. And you know, there's not a bad player to come out of Manchester United, so I don't think he'll be any different.
Now everyone knows that you spent most of last season injured. That must have been a kind of knock to your confidence, being out of the game for a bit.
Yeah.
How did it affect you psychologically, mentally? What was your...
At the time, it was difficult. That first phone call when I had the scan, and the physio rang me and said it's not good news. I knew then there'd be a lengthy layoff. You know, the scan didn't actually show the extent of the damage completely. It was only a week later when I went to see a surgeon about it that the damage was really shown, and it obviously required surgery. But you know, I was lucky at the time. I'd already started seeing a psychologist that I employed myself, and he helped me immensely. Steve Pope, he was just somebody to talk to who understood what I was going through. And you know, obviously I've got a great family, and my missus as well that was there. But I think I did take it out on, as you do, them closest to you, and they probably knew that it really affected me to spend 5 months out of a Premier League season on the first time I get in there. You know, it was difficult, but like I said, then I found a personal trainer in Mike Clegg as well, who really put me back on the road to recovery. So I'd started surrounding myself with good people who I've got a lot of time for, and I'm very proud to know.
Yeah, and focused on getting you back on the the road kind of thing. What is it that you've done that's, you know, kind of, you know, what kind of exercises have you done to get back on the road to recovery?
I think it was more or less starting again, because I mean, over the Christmas period I was just sat on the floor at home, you know, icing my knee, eating a tin of roses, and for weeks, for 3 weeks solid, that's all I could do, until I could even start bending it and obviously taking the dressings off and such things. But it was really just starting again. It was general all-round fitness. It wasn't just my leg work, it was my CV and my upper body work as well. But obviously a lot of emphasis on my leg, you know, deadlifts, squats, single leg squats, bounding, a lot of plyometrics as well, which goalkeepers do a lot of bounding and jumping. And I'd say in the last 4 or 5 weeks since the season started, it's actually becoming where it was before I did the injury. You know, my leg's actually getting back now. It's took a long time, and there was certain growth spurts in the muscle. It had come so far, and then it'd stop, and then I'd have to, you know, kick on again to make it, you know, redevelop the muscle. So it's been a long process, but by no means am I there yet. You know, it's not just going to stop because I'm back playing.
How long do you see yourself getting 100%?
I think this year, for me personally, like I was saying, with the people I surround myself with now, it's a matter of how far I can go rather than where you know, can I get. It's how far can I go with my fitness, how far can I take on my goalkeeping. Like I say, with these people now, there's no limit to what I think I can do now. And it's that next step, it's a progression of each time that I train to get better and further on of what I do.
Now, when you were obviously staying at home trying to, you know, get back to where you are now, I mean, you're watching strikers and goalies, I presume, you know, still keeping your eye on the ball, literally. You know, how were you doing that? Just tuning in? Were you actually going to matches?
I didn't go to a match for a few months, maybe 3 months, and Saturday afternoon was, it wasn't a good place to be around me on a Saturday afternoon. I wouldn't even watch soccer Saturday. I just didn't want to know, because I wasn't there, I wasn't involved, and I was just frustrated, and you know, a lot of why me and this, that and the other. But it was hard to deal with, to know the lads were out there 3 o'clock, you know, you clock watch. 3 o'clock came and I wasn't there. It wasn't a nice time on a Saturday.
What's your, I mean, what was the club's kind of reaction to it? Did you get a lot of support from them, or?
Oh, of course, yeah. A lot of the players called me. A lot of players that I played at other clubs with called me as well. You know, wishing me a speedy recovery and such things. And obviously, you get backing from the manager and the staff and the physio department at the club. You know, I think we were all, you know, a bit gutted to see what had happened.
There's nothing you can do either. I mean, from that point of view.
It's just one of them things. You know, I've been quite lucky with injuries. I've not really had many previous to that. Maybe an ankle, but that was my first serious injury as it was, and it was a big blow to me.
Yeah, of course. When you are, completely, 100% fit, what's your normal drill? What's your training of a Monday, Wednesday morning or whatever?
Well, if we haven't got a Tuesday game, then Monday after a weekend, we'll probably review what went on the weekend. Then it'll be tough training sessions, Monday, Tuesday.
What would that involve?
A lot of physical, a lot of CV work rather than, catching the ball, it's just a lot more intense. And then, lean off towards the end of the week. So you do a lot more diving, up and down, a lot more shooting. And then obviously, like I said, towards the end of the week, you tone that down, do a lot more handling, a lot more footwork, and take the sets of reps down from, maybe 6 or 8 down to 4 and do it, really sharp. So more at the start of the week and then less at the end.
Was there any drills that you picked up from, say, Norwich or, I don't know, where else, did you play for Shrewsbury? Yeah, I mean, any other clubs that you've brought to...
Yeah, I was discussing this today, actually, with the goalkeeper coach we've just got at Blackpool, George Wood. And every club I've been at, there's been a different goalkeeper coach. So there's certain things that you can take from each coach that makes a good session, if you will. Like we're saying, George, there's certain things that George does that I really like. There was great things that Fred Barber did that I really like and still do. Andy Furman, and when I was on loan at Shrewsbury, Andy Mulliner as well. So you can never stop learning, and people say that a lot, and it's true, because in goalkeeping you can never do enough, and you're learning all the time. And especially now being involved with the Scotland national team, I go away and we've got the Rangers goalkeeper coach Jim Stewart. So then I go and train. I've just been away for 10 days and train with him. So again, it's different things, different drills, and different ideas.
What's the level of training? What's the difference between training for Scotland, training at Blackpool? Massive difference? Yeah,
it is a massive difference. I mean, obviously you've got myself and Alan McGregor, who's Scotland's #1 at the moment, as well as Craig Gordon, who will be back involved when he's back from injury, no doubt, and myself and David Marshall, Ian Turner. And the difference is that you've got 25 players of very, very good quality. It's the best of, they get together, Scotland can get. Whereas at Blackpool, you'll have, maybe 10 good players and the rest make a team without being rude, So when they're training away with Scotland, the quality of it is a lot higher.
And managers, you've got Ian Holloway at Blackpool. What's he like to work for?
He's very good to work for. He's very entertaining. I tell people when they ask me about him, he's exactly the same every day. When you see him on the TV, he's laughing and joking, but his coaching ability and his training is very good. It's intense, a lot to take in, but very rewarding because of the style of football we play. A lot of people have said they love to watch it, and we love playing it, so it works.
Yeah, I think he's good to be at the helm of the ship as well. He's got massive drive and ambition for the club. Yeah. Diet-wise, do you follow a particular diet?
We don't have dietitians or nutritionists at Blackpool, but I think you pretty know what you can eat and what you can't eat. You don't go having McDonald's and takeouts every night. You eat as healthy as you can. A lot of veg and salad and chicken, fish, pasta. I think you know what your own body needs really throughout the week, what you can eat and get away with. And I think for myself personally, on a Saturday night, there's nothing better than having a takeout, whether it be a curry or a Chinese, and just relaxing at weekend. And then obviously in the week, you're very good at what you eat. Yeah,
I think you've got to be careful what you say. And I think I know someone who I was speaking to them a few weeks ago who said that he ate spaghetti bolognese 7 nights on the trot because he read once that Neville Southall ate spaghetti bolognese. Yeah. So he just thought that's what you have to eat to get to be a good goalkeeper.
You can take it too far and be reading labels on the back on the packets and that. But I think, like I say, if you know what you're going to eat and you have 3 good meals a day, obviously your breakfast, a good lunch and a good dinner, then you're going to be around the right things to eat.
Talking about Scotland, what do you think of the current batch of Scottish goalkeepers?
Oh, they're very good. Like I say, Al McGregor's a great goalkeeper. Been fortunate enough to train with him now on several occasions, and he he's a good goalkeeper. Yeah, he can pull saves out of his backside. I'm telling you, I mean, obviously as well, David Marshall, who joined up with the squad this time. I was at Norwich with him. I was his understudy at Norwich, and we got on great. It was great to see him. I've not seen him for a while, even though we speak on the phone quite regular. So we had a good catch up and a good giggle. But they've got great, and Craig Gordon as well. I mean, what a fantastic goalkeeper he is. They've got there's three that I've mentioned, as well as Ian Turner, Cameron Bell as well. They've got a great bunch of goalkeepers.
Do you think there's a kind of disparity between like Scottish keepers and English keepers? I spoke to Andy Gore, I don't know when it was, a few months ago now. He was saying the state of English goalkeeping has got a lot to be kind of desired.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
I'd agree with him there. I think Joe Hart now obviously is England's #1 and rightly so, to be quite honest. And then other than that, you're looking, David Stockdale's and Frank Fielding now in the squad, where years ago we had Seaman, Richard Wright, and top players, But I mean, that's just the way it is, and them people are there on their own merit, and good luck to them.
What do you reckon the difference is between the English and Scottish leagues?
I don't know, it's different. I couldn't really say. Maybe money, the money that the Premier League generates. That's got a massive impact on who you can buy, what you can pay, and things like that. Scotland hasn't obviously got that, the money there that they can develop with. But it's not. I don't think it's just about the money. It's about the Premier League is such a big and attractive league. The players from all over the world are coming in to the Premier League. So you've got Rangers and Celtic in Scotland that are probably the two clubs that will attract the top players. And like you say, it's like, they run away with the title, either one of them, every year. So there's a massive gulf between them two and the rest of the leagues. So, but I don't think it's just money. Just that obviously helps, but like I say, the Premier League's just it blows every other league out of the water, really.
Yeah, it does. Now you admitted to nearly quitting when you joined Blackpool at the beginning. Why was that?
I was just getting frustrated with lack of opportunity at the club. And I came from Norwich, having never played a game at Norwich, but facility-wise and help that you got there and the treatment you got was, first class. It was a Premier League club. And coming to Blackpool, where the facilities are very limited, staffing's limited, I found it hard to break into the team under the manager, Simon Grayson. And there was a day where it was blowing 90-mile-an-hour winds, horizontal rain in your face, and I couldn't catch, I couldn't do anything right, and I didn't, what's the point kind of attitude, and just walked off. That was, quite funny looking back now at the time, but I was deadly serious.
How long did that last?
Probably till I rang my mum on the way home, and she gave me a rollicking on the phone. But no, I came away and I spoke to people like Fred Barber and Neil Edwards, and they kind of said, you've got too much to throw away, you're too good to give it up, what are you going to do? Well, this and that and the other, and probably didn't really mean what I was saying. I was just frustrated at the time, but I sat down with my parents as well and thought about it, and what else would I do? I was throwing away the last 8 years of my life.
So you went back?
Yeah, I think a few days off, and then decided to go back in and give it another go, and then we started doing all right, and I think I got on loan to Shrewsbury then, played a few games there, and then came back, and Simon left actually. Tony Parts took over. Still didn't get in the team. I think I played about 6 games, and then obviously Holloway came in the following year, and we got on well, and I worked hard over the summer, had a good pre-season, and a few games into the season I got an opportunity to play, and took my chance. And
you get on with Holloway as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously important to have a good relationship with with your manager.
Yeah.
I mean, would you have stuck about if you had a not so good relationship?
Probably not, no, because having took the year out at Norwich and not played, I was hungry to play again. Yeah. And then having another year at Blackpool of not playing, it was 2 years. And I played 2.5 years every game at Rochdale. So to sit out 2 full seasons was hard for me. I think if Ian Holloway had come in and I'd not played again, I'd have definitely, you know, tried to leave and then, you know, go to another club.
How good was the Championship playoff with Blackpool at Wembley?
Personally, I didn't enjoy it one bit.
You didn't?
I didn't, no.
Nerves or...? Yeah,
a lot of things, obviously nerves. The heat of the day was just so intense. It was 100 and odd, you know, on the pitch level. It was so hot. And at times I was stood watching the game and I felt like I was sat in the stand watching it rather than being involved with it. And I, you know, I was slapping myself in the face saying, come on, you need... And it was, I think, the occasion and, like I say, the heat. I was just stood there. I mean, the lads were running around, I know in it, but I was just stood with this heat. And it got so hot, and you know, I was
delirious.
I was, and I didn't really enjoy it. And obviously, then the goal, you know, we went 1 down, 1-1, 2, you know, and all the emotions of that as well. And then the second half, we were 3-2 up, and we, you know, for 45 minutes, you know, I had to keep in front, you know, and the whole occasion of it was just so much, you know. Only afterwards did I actually think, I've just done that. Yeah. We've just achieved this. At the time, it didn't really sink in. But you know, what a prize at the end of it. You know, at the end of the day, to walk up them steps and be in a Premier League team the next season.
What does it feel like?
Oh, it's something that you can never reproduce. No matter, you know, obviously the birth of a child maybe, but for me personally, to achieve that was a massive thing for me. Coming from Rochdale and starting there as a kid, you know, I've always said it was a privilege. I wanted to be a footballer. And that happened when I was 18. I got my first contract. I played at 17. And everything else was a privilege. And to play at Wembley, 82,000, play in the Premier League, I'd never ever thought I would have done it. And, you know, like I say, afterwards you sit down in the hotel room and, you know, your missus and my family were there. And it was like, wow, we just won at Wembley, you know. And it was a good day, good evening. Yeah.
I imagine it's quite emotional. How do you how do you wind down from that? How do you just get back onto?
Well, the do at the night actually at the hotel wasn't the most liveliest do I've ever been at, I'll be honest. I think, like I say, with the heat of the day and the occasion, and then the energy and, you know, what we put into the game, afterwards you're having a few beers and you're just mentally as well as physically drained. Yeah. You know, but you know, we had a good old knees up at the.
I bet you did.
A few drinks and. I slept well as well, to be honest, that night. Yeah. But like I say, you know, you wake up the next day, you read the papers, Blackpool in the Premier League next season, and you know, you start thinking, oh, I'll be going playing at Old Trafford and the Emirates and Stamford Bridge, you know, and all these thoughts. I hope I say everything, you know. They start playing against the players as well in the Premier League, you know. It was just exciting every day. It was like, wow, we've done it, you know, you're pinching yourself kind of thing. Because not only personally, but a team like Blackpool, a club like Blackpool as well, was probably never even thought of, you know, a team like that would get in the Premier League, a club like that would get in the Premier League, and to achieve that was massive. I mean, it had an effect on the town, you know, never mind just the club. You know, everybody in the town, we did a victory parade down the promenade, and there was
everyone
thousands,
came out.
Tens of thousands of people came out. It was just amazing time. Yeah.
You were talking about strikers just then. Is there any particular players, any strikers that you kind of make sure you keep an eye out for in any of the clubs that you've played against?
Not particularly. No, I wouldn't say. Obviously, in the Premier League, you know who's who. You know, you see them on the telly 7 days a week. You know what they do and how they move and things like that. Obviously, they have different game plans against different teams, but you know, in the Championship, maybe you don't know who so much about each striker themselves. You know, Billy Sharp always seems to score past me, and we just played Crystal Palace last week, and Glenn Murray, I was at Rochdale with that. You know, I just had a feeling he'd come on and score, and you know, but no, I think I take every game as it comes, and you know, like you know, obviously we've got Ipswich on Saturday, and you know, we've had a look at their players, but I won't think about that until possibly 1:30 on the Saturday afternoon when I arrive at the ground. It's when I really start switching on and thinking about who we're playing, what we're doing, you know, things like that. I don't.
Sorry, do you watch the do you watch the players' form? Do you watch like videos of them?
Yeah, we go over like obviously the last game or the last couple of games that they played, the formation and such things, and you know how they maybe the striker pulls off the shoulder of the centre half, and you know different things. For obviously myself and the centre half, we have a look at it. You know, so we do know a little bit about who's who, but every game's different. Yeah. You know, you can play a different formation every game, so it's not set in stone that that's what they do.
What do you think Scotland's chances of qualifying for the Euro 2012?
Well, we've not made it easy for ourselves, I must admit, but you know, we're very confident now that we can go to Lithuania and beat them, Liechtenstein, sorry, I think it is. Beat them, and then we've got a massive game against Spain, but you know, why not? Why can't we? You know, it was just unfortunate.
Are you going to make the squad?
Hopefully, yeah. I've been on the bench there for the last 2 games at Hampden, so hopefully I can get in the squad. If I'm on the bench, good. If not, you know, I'll still be there for the lads, and I'm just glad to be involved. Yeah. Just really happy to be involved. Yeah,
for sure. And what about Blackpool? Do you reckon they could bounce back into the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a few players. Obviously, Charlie Adam was a massive player for us, as well as David Vaughan, who I think he's a brilliant player. And DJ Campbell as well, off to QPR. But we brought in Barry Ferguson and Kevin Phillips. Kev's scoring goals and Barry can run in midfield, so I don't see, you know, why we can't be up there at least. And obviously, other additions we brought to the squad. We've got a healthy squad now.
Okay, well, finally, the readership of Goalkeeper magazine is predominantly kids from age, I don't know, 9 till about 17, 18, and adults as well, not leaving them out. What advice would you give to those kids, you know, in becoming a successful goalkeeper? Or a decent goalkeeper?
It's probably, everyone says hard work, and I think it's the ultimate key to it. You know, I learned when I was young that, and probably not so much young, probably, you know, 16, 17 when I started training with Fred, that it's hard work. It's, you know, these top players that you see on hundreds of £1,000s a week, it doesn't just come to you. You've got to work hard, you know. And goalkeeping is the hardest position on the pitch, despite what a midfielder and a striker says, you know, it's just stood in goal. But it's just hard work. You've got to get up every day and live and breathe being a goalkeeper. I must admit, I didn't, and that's probably why I found it even more. It was harder for me to get into, you know, keep going.
What do you mean you didn't?
When I was young, as a YT at Rochdale, it was, again, I felt it was like a bit with my mates and this, that and the other, and if you made a mistake, you got a bit of a rollicking, but it didn't really matter. But as you get older, it becomes serious. It's a serious game, and you know, it's your job as well. At the end of the day, it pays a mortgage, and you know, it pays the bills, and that's exactly what it is. And but it's hard work. I mean, it's relentless hours in the gym, as well as out on the training ground. You know, you work off the pitch, like you say, your diet, your gym work. You know, your mind games. You know, taking information off people about different teams, different players, and then actually going on the pitch, practicing your kicking, crossing, you know, catching balls every day, every single day, volleys. Yeah. You know, and just getting used to doing the same thing every day, and then reproducing it in a game, whether it be a Sunday league game, a youth team game, a first team game, a national game. It's reproducing that quality that you learn onto the pitch, and that's the hardest thing, to do it on that stage.
Training to play.
Yeah, training. But as well, I think is listening to what people are telling you. You know, your coaches, they've been there, possibly, and you know, a lot of coaches now are going down to grassroots level and coaching the kids. So it's listening into what you know, what they've got to say, and I think it's the edge as well. If you can do that little bit extra that gets you ahead of somebody else, that's what you need to do. It's all about that little edge, that new thing. Can you do it? Can you, you know, if you're doing your kicking, is it 9 out of 10? Can you get 10 out of 10? And it's practice, and like I say, taking it on in your mind and doing and reproducing day after day.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Matt Gilks.
No problem.
Hi, Matt. So we're sat in the lab, as it's called. This is where you've done most of your training in your recovery. Do you want to talk us through how it's helped you?
Yeah, after my knee injury in November, I was lucky enough to be put into contact with Mike Clegg, who runs at Olympic Sports Gym, where, you know, he has equipment here that not a lot of gyms have, and it's quite specific to sport, different kinds of sport, but it's specific to what my injury was. And he took me on board, and we got on great, you know, and obviously the equipment here really helped me develop back to where I was, but it wasn't just my leg. Obviously, you know, that being the first and foremost rehabilitation on my leg, it was all reaction stuff as well. I mean, you know, we use a reaction board and a cognitive machine there, which, you know, it's like a neuro tracker. You know, you're watching things go around, so it, you know, it switches your mind on as well. And general fitness and core work, you know, and core strength, as well as weights, upper body weights and things like that. But I'm kind of a bit gutted I didn't meet him a lot sooner, to be honest. I know I'd have been back a lot quicker, and I've certainly come back a lot fitter. I've probably lost nearly a stone in weight. My body fat's down to 12 now from 15. So he's been a massive influence to me, and a great help, and he's become a good friend as well.
Yeah, how often do you visit?
Over the summer, after a couple of weeks off on my holidays, I came here every day, and I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we did a session first thing. And it's not a nice time to be breathing so hard, really, but people will tell you when you're involved in a sport, when you know you're dripping a sweat and you've just finished a session and you know you've had the best brought out of you, and you have that shower and you feel $1 million after it, you know, and that's exactly what I feel like here with Mike. And like I say, the things he does with me are so specific to what I need. And he, you know, there's a taekwondo guy who comes here and trains on Mike, and he'll take on board what he has to do and aspects of his sport, you know, and makes it specific to him as well. And like I said, the rehabilitation I've got here has just been first class.
How did you get to meet Mike Clegg?
I was put onto him from a solicitor friend of mine who knew him from a few years ago, and he, you know, obviously I just lived down the road from here, so it's quite convenient for me. But when I first came here and I was introduced to the machines that Mike has and what they do and such things, I was blown away, and it was like another level from anything I'd ever known. It was like the top of anything I've ever known. Like I say, a reaction board, you know, the light comes on and you're reacting and turning it out and things like that. And, you know, boxing as well. I'd never really done boxing, but he introduced me into doing a lot of boxing. So it's a lot of speed work. You know, like I say, my body, I think my body shape changed in 6 weeks, my whole shape. I used to do a lot of weights, a lot of big weights, thinking, you know, I need to be a bit of a presence. And he stopped me. He said, why? You need to be quick, you need to be agile. And this is what I've now become. I've slimmed down, I've still got my strength, and I still do weights, but it's so specific to what I need. Not too much, not enough, you know, it's exactly spot on for what I need, and I feel 100 times better, you know, than I've ever felt. And that's not it yet, there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, do you feel more confident in the goal?
Yeah, I feel sharper, more agile, quicker. And there's things like when you stood and you sprint off, you take a step back, and we're learning, don't just sprint from the spot, you know, and just let that little edge like I was talking about before. And that's what Mike has introduced to me. And when I leave here, I don't switch off from here. It's changed my whole outlook on everything I do, how I apply myself. It is what I eat, it is what I drink, it's what time I go to bed, it's what time I get up. It's become, since being injured, it's become obsessive, more or less, if you will, of what I do now has become obsessive. Whereas before, I enjoyed doing it. Now I'm enjoying it even more, but becoming obsessive and wanting to learn more. And it's just, you know, I can't say enough about the place.
You've suffered problems with your knee and your ankle. How's he helped? Has he helped with those?
Yeah, like I said, the first and foremost, Mike said with my knee was the rehabilitation with it. A lot of deadlifting, a lot of squatting, single leg squats, and we do a circuit of things, bounding, plyometrics, and all the emphasis on getting the power and the strength back in my muscle in my leg to support my knee, as well as obviously the finer muscles as well as around the knee. So, you know, he's been immense for me.
And as your physiotherapist, your doctor, they've commented on the quicker recovery.
I went back in the summer, and a few people were asking what I'd been up to, and they could just physically see the change in my shape and my body, and like I said, my body fat was down, my weight was down, and there was a few people asking questions. I was probably a little bit reluctant to say what I've been doing because, like I said, this is my edge, this is what I do now away from the club, and this is what keeps me at the top of my game. So possibly a bit selfish in not letting.
Did you want to keep it secret?
I did actually, yeah. But then, you know, I think it'll benefit so many people. And I brought Mike, a few more people down from different age groups, up to adults, and to come and see what he does, because it's not just for professional sports people, it's from kids, you know, to elite athletes. It's right across the board here at this gym.
That's great. What's Mike Clegg's background?
He worked at Manchester United for 11 years, I think it was. And if you ask him who he worked with the most, it's Ronaldo this and Ronaldo that. He likes throwing a name in, but, you know, I think his background in my sport is good for me as well. You know, he's been around the environment that I work in. He understands what goes on. He understands how people think. And like, he's worked with the best. And I'm quite honoured to be working with him as well. And like I say, he's become a very good friend.
Right. You mentioned this thing called the Neuro Tracker.
Neuro Tracker.
What can you explain what that is?
Basically, it's a 3D cube with 8 balls in it, yellow balls, and then 4 turn to orange, and then back to yellow. So you've got to track these 4 balls around this cube when the balls are hitting off the side of the cube and the other balls, and then after so many seconds it'll stop and they'll be numbered. So you might say 2, 5, 6 and 8.
The ones that turned orange.
And then obviously you score, you've got to track them 4 balls, but it's all about peripheral vision. You know, so if I'm looking that way, I can still see what's going on over there. And again, it's so specific to goalkeeping for me to do that. It's just another level, like I say, of training that I've now taken on and I'm responding to.
Right, well, thank you very much for telling us about this Olympic gym, this hidden gem.
It is a hidden gem.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you.